So this is reverted. As a general rule, you finish up the corner first and then make an extension down the side second. The reason for that is if you leave the corner undecided, it's very hard to get your stone down in the right point on the side. So for example, if white wants to kind of put a stone down in this area to work together with this structure, then an appropriate way to do it would be to play this pincer, for example. See, starting through the corner, now you have a stone down very naturally in exactly the position you want to have. And this is a fair divide of the corner territory. If you come back to the game, what happens is that now black intends to press white down, and is this stone going to be in the right place or not? That's not going to be exactly so clear cut at this point. Or for that matter, even if black did simply this, is this stone really where white wants it to be? It actually is not. It's not in a good relationship from this side. And that invariably happens. The person who has the first move in the corner has more control over what happens than the other player. And so if you don't answer in the corner but play on the side, then you give your opponent a chance to move the play in the corner so as to put your stone down on a bad spot.
Where should that triangle stone be? If you have two stones like that, like 10, then where should that triangle stone be?
Well, just in terms of having a good relationship from this side, oh, I can't do that because
Yeah, it's the wrong order.
this point would have a good relationship from that side, getting off the third line, getting up a little bit. But now, of course, this point is a little distant from here. It doesn't contribute to this structure so well. But the point is that this stone is not really in a great position, however you look at it. Now, from black's perspective, the idea of pressing on these stones is fine. I don't have any problem with that. But you can't press this hard. Black isn't strong enough to make that work. This would be a nice way to continue. Again, is this a critical point for white? Is this where white wants to be? Not really. From the local position, now that it's turned to here, this would make a nice shape for white. Reinforcing against the threat of this push and cut here, and what black can get from that. From white's standpoint, black has to give that stone away if white cuts. What does black do for resistance? Given that this stone over here is so weak, the problem here from black's perspective is this. See, this stone is not supporting the cut. If you take this stone and you put it down here, now black would have a perfect cutting shape, and he could have some hopes of being successful in terms of managing the cut. But he doesn't have a stone here, it's off here. That means that this stone can be driven with J, it can be driven over here, it can be driven all over the place. And because it's not supporting the cut, that means that white's probably going to have to give up one of these two stones, which means that the Hane was not valid in the first place. So white can push back here. Let me get the view down. There we go. White should cut, and black has to give something up.
Could you play that out a little bit, just so if white goes to A?
So what does Mr. Black do?
Choose one.
He sends it that
so-
way.
Yeah.
Does Black play here?
No.
Black.
And now what does Mr. Black do?
I wonder if Black would have Atari'd on top instead of extended.
Well then, if
Not
he's,
a lot of good, you know.
if he pushes this stone either way, he's just automatically giving up
Right.
something. If he pushes this way, then he's giving this stone up.
Right.
If he pushes this way, then he's giving this stone up. So, you know, then that's a kind of a concession diagram for Black. It may be the best way to play, but Black is conceding there.
Fight out for his life.
I don't think Black likes this diagram.
No.
That's the thing, is that, see, developing along this line, White is pressuring both sides equally. That has the consequence that one side or the other is going to languish while the other side is being reinforced, and White's going to get a profit on the side that is languishing. So this is kind of reverted to a kind of a Joseki here. Although it's still not complete. I think White needs to push here, and Black will link here, and now it's stable. Now it can be finished. Now you can move on. The points are in the corner. You see this kind of variant approach, and it's a valid way of thinking, but this is the wrong point. You see here. White has created a problem for himself. Black has the aim point of J. The way to implement this approach is to make a steady extension, a two-space extension. Now when Black takes the corner, there's no problem left behind. So that Black has control, White has controlled how much Black gets. Force Black to just settle for the corner closure, which is, you know, not settling very much, but in any event, White has extended his structure out this way. He has gotten Black to answer him to secure the corner, and he can move on here. But with this one, now when Black takes the corner, White really is still a move short. He's forced to stay in this area with one more move, which is contrary to the whole point of playing there. If he was going to actually be prepared to take Gote in this area, then of course we would ask ourselves, well let's contest the corner, not give it to Black. Let's just wait a minute. There. Let's just contest the corner, not give it to Black, but we'll take half of it for ourselves. The corner is where the points are. So the theory behind this is White wants to get a move down here and Sente and move on. But if Black secures the corner, that really is not possible. Now, if this stone were on the star point and White played here, you know, the one-space jump would be common and natural. But since this is not on the star point, I'm a little wondering if Black has kind of if he's Joseki bound. You can see how much has been lost in the corner here in Sente so far as that goes. And by giving up this much of the corner, a lot of the value that Black is seeing in this aim has been taken away. How to play in this area? This is incomplete. Whenever something's incomplete, you either play in a wholly different area of the board, or you do something that's going to complete it. Now, black is looking at this cut. That's a possible. That has the disadvantage that it strengthens white, but black takes the corner and reinforces himself through here. If white does something like this, he's in trouble, because now this move creates Miai out of, I will kill the cornerstones.
What is Miai?
Good question. Or I will take this. Miai is a Japanese word. I use it because there's really no good English equivalent. Miai means that you have two moves of equal value where one of those two moves is necessary. It's used in different cases. Let me just back up for a second. I'm just going to put a stone down here. Let's see. I'm just going to put a white stone down here. You see this move all the time. This stone, this one stone, is stable all by itself. Why is this true? It's true because if black approaches from this side, white has a stabilizing two-space extension to here. And if black approaches from this side, white has a two-space stabilizing extension to here. So although there's only one stone there, because there is an extension in either direction, that single stone is stable all by itself. So this stone is played in order to break up the opponent's structure. You break up a structure by putting a secure group or a stable group in the middle of it. So the purpose of this move is to break up the structure so that black can't get it. That's the purpose. This is the key thing to understand. This stone is stable because J and K are Miai. If black takes one away, white takes the other. If black takes the other away, white takes the one. But notice that while these moves are equally important and equal in size, relatively speaking, from white's perspective, there's no big reason for him to want both J and K. If he gets J, he's happy. If he gets K, he's happy. He doesn't really care that much if it's J or if it's K. So this is a situation of Miai where you have two paired moves which are equally valuable, and you're perfectly content to take either one, but you don't need both.
So, well, the Miai in the lower left corner now.
Right, getting back to here then, at this point in time, yes, when black plays here, then K captures this stone, links black up, and trashes white's potential in through here, and J kills the corner.
White J kills. White J kills corner, or black J?
Black J.
Oh, okay, black J.
White has to play one of those to circumvent the situation.
So this looks to be par, but black gets a nice gain in the corner, and he's secured himself in through here. This is now a completed and stable position. But notice, from this position, where is black's next move going to be? Well, he's certainly not going to play here. He's going to want to play here. Right?
Right.
Now, let's back up. Where did black actually play in the game? By playing here, to some extent, black undermined his own move that he had available in the corner. This is the same principle I was talking about. You finish up the corners, then you make the extensions down the side. Until the position is completed, you don't know what's a good extension. By playing here, black has kind of committed himself to a short extension on this side, and he has made the value of taking these cornerstones, marginally speaking, smaller. So he's kind of hurt his own move in that area. Okay. Let's see, what's the deal here? Okay. Here's a standard technique for dealing with this kind of area. The theory of the move is really quite easy to understand. I call this move a seam move. Seam, like a seam in a garment. This line is the seam between the side and the corner. By playing in contact with white on the seam, you force white to make a choice. Is he going to put more importance on the corner or more importance on the side? Let's say he decides to put more importance on the corner. By putting more importance on the corner, that means in order to complete what he's doing and get his value, he has to spend 2 moves on the corner. That means that you get breathing space, 1 free move, to make an extension down the side and make it easier for your stones to settle.
Yep.
That 1 move is the principle of the seam. By playing on the seam, you get 2 moves in a row in whichever side you get. Now, when you play on the seam, your opponent gets the choice, obviously. So if you're not happy with letting your opponent play the choice, the seam move is not appropriate. But because you get 2 moves in a row in whichever side you want, you can move into an area and settle much more easily. You look at the game diagram. See here? White, actually I would prefer for white to play the diagonal move here, but in any event, white has blocked black out of the corner and the resources that attend to black in the corner.
Now, on that seam move,
Mhm.
would it have been better for white to take in the outside and it gets it 2 middle areas?
Well, the outside is possible too. Typically when white plays on the outside, then black counter honeys. As it turns out, this is a move that is almost impossible to see. If it's not pointed out to you, this calm connection is the best answer. Black, as it turns out, has nothing better to do than connect himself. White blocks to keep him in the corner. And again, in this case, white takes the outer side. But because black has gotten 2 moves in a row in the corner side, he's able to settle in. Now, it's important to realize about this particular position that black isn't alive yet. There's still a ko left in the corner, a 1-move approach ko. The corner is worth 30 points. It takes 3 moves to resolve a 1-move approach ko, so there's 10-point moves left here. Not huge, but when you start to get into the yosei, this is going to become a relatively significant factor. 3 moves resolving the ko. If you let the yosei get down to, say, 5-point moves, and then the ko starts, black is probably going to take a substantial loss, because with his 3 stones, 3 moves, he's likely to get 15 points, and with white's 3 moves, he's likely to get 30 points. But until the game gets down to that stage, you don't have to particularly worry about this. Again, by playing on a seam, you give your opponent a choice, but when he chooses, that gives you extra moves on your side that allow you to settle in. And